Kayfabe is a term used in professional wrestling. These days everyone knows professional wrestling is scripted. We've addressed the possibility of sports being scripted in our 4-part Bread and Circus series. In this video we will address Kayfabe in politics and the entertainment industry as a whole. It's important to note that most celebrity personas are created based on the intended audience. This is most notable in the rap music genre, where most artists have to project a hyper-masculine and sometimes gangster persona. We are all familiar with popular rapper and actor Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and his origin surviving an assassination attempt and being shot 9 times in the process. There had been rumors he was only shot 5 times, however documents reveal he was only shot 3 times.
Right here, right? I was sitting in the car, the nigga was waiting, double parked, he was waiting on me, right? He like came up and pulled on the side, like right here. So the nigga hops out, now peep this, look, the nigga was real, like a real sneaky ass nigga, cause he came around the back of the car, like so like he like this, and broke shit, fell out the back. I'm like, fuck up, nigga. He froze up, nigga. Nah, shit, how the fuck you ain't pull up? I'm jumping around the back of the motherfucking car and shit, you know what I mean? Cause nigga found out what the fuck you gonna do. I was trying to hit back at the nigga, he was so close that as soon as I tried to buck back at the nigga hit my hand, like bang, like he bucked down. And shit hit my hand and came through my pinky and shit. This shit down here. I keep it with me. It's a souvenir. It went through my face right here.
So that must have been this, maybe this one, this one, and this one. Those 3. And then maybe like this one right here. And then and all of these shits right here that I got. This is just, it's a myth, right? My whole fucking hip from here to top of my knees broke. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, maybe it was. I don't remember. Yeah. Well, the nigga that shot me dead. What you want me to do? You know, the nigga that sent him to shoot me in jail. He had life.
My mom ain't get off till late. You know, I snoop around the room, find like, damn. I found a pistol. Big ass 9. I made a song about it. I was in there on my rap. Got a gun, music blasting, thinking I'm safe. Playing around. And after that,
Wayne accidentally pulled the trigger, and the bullet tore through his chest. Laid out on the floor, he crawled to the phone and called 911.
I was in the house. Police knocked on the door. I was right there. They knocked the door down. Everybody jumped over my body to go get the guns and drugs and whatever they could find. It took one guy to stop right there.
I was in the house. Police knocked on the door. I was right there.
I guess I woke up to the knocks of the police at the door.
Wow.
And so, but I was in my mom's room and I was kind of far from the door.
Police knocked on the door. I was right there.
Where did it happen?
I was like, I think I was 14.
Oh.
And I was in the crib in the house, and at the age of 12 years old, I shot myself. I was 14.
Oh.
And I was in the crib in the house, and yeah, I was watching. I could remember it was Notorious Big video on. I love it when you call me Big Pop. Yeah. I remember that.
But on the afternoon of November 11th, 1994,
watching, I could remember it was Notorious Big video on. I love it when you call me Big Pop. Yeah. I remember that.
laid out on the floor, he crawled to the phone and called 911.
Laid out on the floor, he crawled to the phone and called 911.
Everybody jumped over my body to go get the guns and drugs. It took one guy to stop right there Just cuss everybody that hopped over me out. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? We called the ambulance. A f***ing ambulance.
We called the ambulance. A f***ing ambulance.
Laid out on the floor, he crawled to the phone and called 911. Four New Orleans policemen responded to the call, including an off-duty officer known as Uncle John.
Went over to the address, 349 Monroe Street. We started checking the apartments, and when we got to his apartment, all we could hear was loud music.
I guess something clicks in your head and told me go to the living room. He picked me up and he told whoever was driving, he's like, behind the wheel, knock. Looking up at him like, who are you? He said, I'm Uncle John. That's what he told me his name was, Uncle John. Looking up at him like, who are you? He said, I'm Uncle John. That's what he told me his name was, Uncle John. He said, don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob. I know a good motherfucking name, Uncle Bob, though. He said, I'm Uncle John. That's what he told me his name was, Uncle John. He said, don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob. I know a good motherfucking name, Uncle Bob, though.
New tonight, rapper 21 Savage has been taken into custody by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Atlanta. Authorities say the rapper, whose real name is Shea bin Abraham Joseph, is from the U.K., although he claims to be from Atlanta.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
The world's most dangerous route.
Was NWA originally a novelty rap group that later on rebranded as a gangster rap group? Was Straight Outta Compton satirical comedy that was done so well, so genuinely, that people missed the joke, and instead of revealing it, they just rolled with it? So in the 80s and early 90s, I was a big fan of comedy rap, novelty rap, shock rap, gimmicky rap, and I absolutely loved NWA. But I never thought of them as a gangster rap group. I thought they were actors portraying a role. Eric Wright as Eazy-E, Andre Young as Dr. Dre, O'Shea Jackson as Ice Cube, Lorenzo Gerald Patterson as MC Ren, Antoine Carabee as DJ Yella, Kim Renard Nazelle as the Arabian Prince, and Tracy Lynn Curry as the DOC. Calling them actors isn't an insult. When I was a kid, teachers and parents used to teach children to differentiate between fact and fiction and what is make-believe and what is real. They had to teach us this because at the time, WWF wrestling and ironically, NWA wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, were very popular, and the adults had to make sure the kids knew that you couldn't just pile drive or body slam your friends and expect them to be okay. And if we saw the Roadrunner drop an anvil on the Coyote's head, or Rambo or Commando taking on an entire army, that it just wasn't plausible, and other depictions of violence we were taught to differentiate.
You know, somebody, the wise man, comes down off the mountain. He's got the plan, and he says, I like what you guys just did. You know what? Let's go get some money with it.
But the impact of NWA was so grand, and people didn't get it so bad, that Hollywood even made two spoof comedy films, one called CB4 and the other called Fear of a Black Hat, to kind of tell the audience gently, like, hey, it was a big joke.
And I'm confused as to how nobody can see it yet.
Yeah.
And through the 70s and 80s and 90s, there was an exploration of what was acceptable for language. So George Carlin had the 7 words you can't say. Richard Pryor had a explicit stand-up show. Andrew Dice Clay and Eddie Murphy had real vulgar humor. There was the Dolomite blaxploitation movies of the 70s, Motley Crue for heavy metal, and Two Live Crew for rap. And I always associated Two Live Crew and NWA together. Two Live Crew made dirty X-rated sex music, and NWA made dirty R-rated violence music. But it was always an act to me. A lot of rap music in the 80s was targeted towards children. For instance, the first 4 rap songs that I heard, which got me into rap in 1986, were, number one, The Show by Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, where the chorus was the Inspector Gadget cartoon theme. The second song I heard was I'm Chillin' by Curtis Blow, and the chorus was the Transformers cartoon theme song. The third song I heard was Stick 'em by the Fat Boys, and the chorus was a bunch of fart noises by the Human Beatbox. And the fourth song I heard was You Be Illin' by Run DMC, which had a really funny saxophone. And the subject matter was about getting Big Macs and Whoppers and Kentucky Fried Chicken. All things I could relate to, because I couldn't relate to love songs. And that's why I got into rap music, because it seemed like it was targeted for children. And NWA is no different. The first NWA song I ever saw was We Want Easy by Eazy-E. And in the video, it's a real happy dance party led by MC Ren and Dr. Dre, and everybody in the audience is smiling and happy. There's even this big fat white guy. And at the end of the video, Eazy-E jumps through the screen and ends up into the audience, and all the glass falls on his head and he performs like a superhero. So this narrative about white kids liking gangster rap because it gave them a chance to safely experience the ghetto from the safety of their nice suburban homes, that's not why I got into it. In 1986, it was targeted towards kids with cartoon theme music, and it was something I could relate to because I couldn't relate to all the love songs that I would hear on the radio. But cartoon rap, I could relate to that. People that started listening to rap music in the 90s can't imagine, and they don't believe me when I say rap music used to be happy, about dancing, and had a positive message. They can't believe it.
A black man, what? Yo, what are you retarded?
Tell them, hump.
Yo, do you work for the Klan?
Do what you like.
Unless you like gang banging. Let's see how many brothers leave us hanging.
Back in the 60s, our brothers and sisters were hanged. How could you gang bang? I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
Yo, I don't smoke weed or sex, cause it's known to give a brother brain damage. And brain damage on the mic don't manage nothing but making a sucker in you equal. Don't be another sequel. I won't test where bulletproof vest. Don't smoke Buddha, can't stand sex, yes.
Man, you's a fool. Yo, homeboy, you a fool. You don't know what time it is out here messing up your mind. You know what I'm saying? This is Ice-T talking to you, boy. I'ma tell you what time it is.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you can get with this, cause this is where it's at. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. Never was a fool, so we finished school. Never see us sweat, and you'll never see us drool.
So I hope you could see why I didn't take NWA that seriously. And I was a huge fan of them, but I thought they were like a comedy group the same way I thought Two Live Crew was a comedy group. But I had friends that took that Two Live Crew song S&M so seriously. It gave them thrills. It was like a sick fantasy they experienced when they'd hear the lyrics.
I'm a part of this, just like you. I'm a disciple of Satan with work to do. I'll ride you to your death and squeeze blood from your breast and work you like a sex slave. You gets no rest.
I just took it as just like a satirical comedy joke. They got their rocks off listening to that song.
I can see it in your eyes. lies the devil's deep inside. You're a masochistic freak in disguise.
And I know you're probably mad at me thinking that I'm reframing and creating this false narrative about rap, but what I'm telling you is the actual truth of what it was. The gangster rap narrative is the fake narrative that took over afterwards.
5 minutes talking about this so far, it makes no money.
Right.
Nobody gets anything from it. But on the WWF side of things, they
everyone's-
eat, bro.
And as I was telling you about Two Live Crew, who's better here? Me that took it as a joke, or my deranged friend that was experiencing deranged fantasies listening to the lyrics? As I was saying that rap and hip hop used to be positive and enlightening. They had the self-destruction movement all in the same gang, and all that seemed to get wiped out by gangster rap. And the rise of gangster rap coincides with the rise of the proliferation of private prisons. So whereas rap used to give good advice, now it gave extremely bad advice. To commit crimes, to glorify committing crimes, to glorify going to jail, and to reinforce this idea that by 25 you'll either be dead or in jail.
What sort of life is this we wish to live? What in the hell have I been telling these kids? Get your money, live it up, spend it up, cause you only live it once, but that's kind of a lie, y'all.
Which essentially manifested the reality. And in the end, the prisons won.
And I'm confused as to how nobody can see it yet.
Yeah.
But this isn't even in retrospect. This is from the beginning. Because if, in retrospect, we take a look at NWA's body of work, which consists of 50 songs, half of them, at least 25 of them, are comedy, novelty, dance songs. Don't believe me? Let's take a look. All right, so as we see here, I have 30 songs I've outlined as either comedy, dance, or party. But let's take a look at the dance and party songs first, just to see what we have. So first off, we have Something to Dance To from the Straight Outta Compton album.
Yo, give me something to dance to.
Arabian Prince, back with the style is hype. Not slow and low, it's the fast type.
Getting dumb. Can you hear the drum?
Yo, Dre, why don't you pump it up some?
I pumped it up, so now what's up? Yo, Yellow Boy, add a little cut. What the hell? You think we need some bells?
Yeah, homeboy, might as well.
And then we have Panic Zone, Pet Panic Zone by NWA and the Posse. Boy, that's gangster, huh? All right, next one is I'ma Break It Down by Eazy-E off the Easy Does It album.
My alternative is the juice of the radio, taking out profanity so they can play it though. Listen to the hell of a kick and the hi-hat. Going to the record store, say you're gonna buy that the E is connected to the A and the Z.
All right, well, let's go back to the Straight Outta Compton album with the song Something Like That.
Oh yeah, yo Ren, you ready to do this shit?
Yeah, Dre, let's rip shit up.
Hey yo, Yellow Boy, why don't you kick me one of them funky ass beats?
Yo, we got my homeboy Eazy-E in the house.
Compton's definitely in the house. Yo Ren, what we gonna call this shit? Tell her what your name is?
Yeah, something like that.
Alright, well, let's kick this shit on the one. Kick it.
Back by the man that was big as fuck. Because you was the public, you should know what's up. Compton's in the house was more than gold. It was a hit cause it was based on some crazy shit.
That was a good party song. Now we have Compton's in the House, another party track.
What do you call a crew that can rap like that?
Let's tell them why we call them whack.
They got a wacky whack record with a wacky whack crew.
Yo, what about the lyrics?
That shit's wacky whack too.
With a fucked up style and a fucked up show.
Hey yo Ren, what about the scratching? Is it deaf?
Fuck no.
And here goes LA is the Place. It reminds me of a Beastie Boys song. All right, next up is Microphone Mike of NWA and the Posse with Scream.
What you want me to do? Scream? Yeah, scream.
We're screaming at the top of our lungs because we're teaming of all the fools we have hung. Cowbells ringing with the dynamite drum. You really want to jam? Well, that's part of the way. You just scream.
All right, and we already showed We Want Easy from Easy Does It being a party song. So it's pretty startling to see that 3 songs on Straight Outta Compton are either dance songs or party songs. For the most gangster rap album of all time, Straight Outta Compton. Now, I had this album when it came out, along with Easy Does It, and the first thing I heard when popping in Easy Does It was this.
Good evening, and welcome to Easy's Playhouse, you stupid motherfucker!
Now that you got the album, what the fuck are you gonna do with it, bitch?
The nigga come from Compton, Michigan, nigga? Well, I'ma introduce him. This is the craziest motherfucker you done seen. This nigga's crazy, just listen.
Easily I approach the microphone because I ain't no joke. Tell your mama to get off of my tip. I have no time to give her my dick. I'm gonna hold it.
Now, I mentioned this because when I bought the album, I wasn't expecting any bad words because the music videos I saw were We Want Easy, Easier Said Than Done, and Express Yourself. Those were 3 videos that played on UMTV Raps. I remember first popping it in a bank drive-thru, and that part happens and my mom says, "Oh, that's a nice tape you got there." And then later on that month, my cousin got NWA Straight Outta Compton, and we were listening to the song Gangster Gangster, and we heard this line.
And all you bitches, you know I'm talking to you. We wanna fuck you, Easy. I wanna fuck you too, because you see, I don't really take no shit.
So let me tell you motherfuckers who you fucking with.
The line was so hilariously preposterous. We had never heard anything like that on a song at the time. And the funny part is we're at my mom's sister's house and she just happens to be walking through the door and she hears that line happen. And it was so hilarious that she couldn't even scold us. She just cracked up and said, "What the heck are you guys listening to?" All right, let's just recap where we're at right now. So we had 3 dance songs, 5 party songs. That's a total of 8. And then Gangster Gangster and Still Talking Shit from the Eazy-E album. I don't know how you want to classify that. I think Still Talking Shit is comedy. And I think Gangster Gangster is comedy, but we'll label that as gangster rap. All right, so now we have 8 Ball. 40 ounce in my lap and it's freezing my balls. That was so hilarious. We never listened to that as a gangster rap song. We thought 8 Ball was a comedy song.
I don't drink Brass Monkey, like the beat funky. Nickname Eazy-E, yo, 8 Ball junkie. Police on my drawers, I have to pause. 40 ounce in my lap and it's freezing my balls.
I Ain't the One by Ice Cube. That was a comedy song. It's not a gangster rap song.
I ain't the one that get played like a poop butt. See, I'm from the street, so I know what's up on these silly games that's played by the women. I'm only happy when I'm going up in a
Dope Man, you might think that's a gangster rap song, but Dope Man to me is the thesis of the entire NWA narrative that I'm trying to label to you. If you listen to the Eazy-E verse, it sounds like a satire about drug dealers.
Well, I'm the dope man, yeah, boy, wear corduroy. Money up to here, but unemployed. We keep smoking that rock, and my pocket's getting bigger.
Yo, got that 5-0 double up, nigga.
Yeah, high rolling, big money, I'm folding. Bitch on my tip for the dick I'm holding. Sprung strawberry jocking me so early. Hope you wanna hit, you gotta get your knees dirty. Now that's my life, that's how it's cut. Hey, dope man. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Gotta make a run, it's a big money deal. Gankers got the fake, but you can get the real from the dope man, yeah, that's me.
dope man, dope
Yo, can I get a G?
dope man, dope man,
As much as he can.
fuck this shit, who am I? The dope man.
Yo, Mr. Dope Man, you think you're slick. You sold crack to my sister and now she's sick. But if she happened to die because of your drug, I'm putting in your culo a 38 slug.
All right, so I hope you could see why I think Dope Man is a comedy track. A Bitch is a Bitch by Ice Cube, again from Straight Outta Compton, or NWA and the Posse, depending on how you label that track. Another comedy track. It feels like the sequel to I Ain't the One.
A female with
A bitch is a bitch, so if I'm poor or rich, I talk in the exact same pitch. Now the title bitch don't apply to all women, but all women have a little bitch in them. It's like a disease that plagues their character.
All right, then we have the 8-Ball version on NWA and the Posse, the Dope Man version on NWA and the Posse, which had a longer intro utilizing the Ohio Players' Funky Worm sample, which became basically the foundation for so many West Coast instrumentals.
He comes out of his holy town, something like this. Oh, that's funky, that's funky. Like 9 cans of shaving powder, that's funky. Come on with it again, fellas, come on with it.
Also, I didn't know, my whole life I was wondering, when did Ad Rock of the Beastie Boys say?
Always come with this shit.
But I found out later on that it was Ice Cube from Ice Cube's previous group called CIA.
For two. Hey, yo, Dre! Kick in the bass!
All right, let's see if we could pick up the pace because we might be here all day. So we established Dope Man is a comedy track, Fat Girl by Eazy-E. I got a fat girl on my jock, got a fat girl on my jock, that's comedy. Drink It Up by Fila Fresh Crew, which is the DOC. Drink it up, baby, now drink it up, baby. So that was a spoof, a parody. Still Talking Shit, we already covered. That's the first song on the Easy Does It album. Nobody move, nobody get hurt.
My mind was going up in her, the suspense was making me sick. She took her panties down and the bitch had a dick. I said, damn, drop the gap in my hand.
Even though it was a song about a bank robbery, we always took Nobody Move to be comedy. Easy Does It, dun, 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 dun. That one's comedy. No More Questions, comedy. It was even parodied by The Lonely Island. Protest interlude, comedy. It's one of the interludes on Eiffel for Sagan album. Don't drink that wine. Coke would be better. That's a comedy. Message to Benedict Arnold, comedy. I mean, if you look at what they say in the song, it's funny. They're beefing with Ice Cube. To Kill a Hooker, comedy. It's an interlude. One less bitch you gotta worry about. Comedy, shock, novelty. Find 'em, fuck 'em, and flee. Yo, I'll find 'em, fuck 'em, and flee, you know. But before I can, I take a hoe to the hotel. Comedy. Automobile. If that one's not comedy, in fact, let's check that one out.
I said, bitch, you don't have to front on me, dear.
You got front on me, bitch. Don't front on me.
So why don't you just give that pussy there? If you be good to me, oh, I'll be good to you. And we'll both ride home in my automobile.
Everybody loved Automobile, even Tupac. Tupac mentioned the Eazy-E. He's like, man, I can't believe you guys got away with Automobile. I always wanted to make a song like that. And on the same album, N Words for Life, we have the song, I'd Rather Fuck You, ooh, yeah. Oh.
Now I'm fucking all your friends cause you ran your mouth like I knew you would. You were bragging to your friends saying Easy knows how to fuck. So bring your ass in here and give me some so I could bust a nut. Go on and sing this shit. I'd rather fuck you, ooh, yeah, yeah, shit.
I'm going through lengths to explain the comedy here because at the time period when these songs came out, I thought this was all hilarious comedy. I never took to this as, yo, this is gangster rap. Now, NWA themselves, they didn't call it gangster rap back then. They called it reality rap. And then as they got bigger and bigger, the news, the mainstream media, they're the ones that coined, this is the new form of music. It's called gangster rap. So we have I'd Rather Fuck You. 1-900-2 Compton is just a comedy interlude. And that covers the comedy, the dance, and the party song. So let's take a look real quick at this. So we can see there are 30 tracks here. Not a single one is labeled as gangster, and I think you'd all agree. If any of these 30 you think is a gangster rap song, let us know in the comments.
You have to understand something. I don't write the words of this song. I don't write the music.
Don't?
No! I don't even know how to play the guitar. And keep this under your hat. That's not me singing all those songs. I just move these handsome lips, and out of the speakers comes a beautiful voice, but it's not mine. It's all true.
The main focus for us was like, yeah, we gotta get with professionals. So when we performed with the band once, finally people found us like, oh yeah, we heard, like, yeah, you should come to the studio, and that's how we started getting into the business.
Now, at which point did the name Milli Vanilli come about? That was before you guys started
No,
working.
that was with Frank. That was with the producer, yeah.
Okay, so you guys weren't called Milli Vanilli before?
No.
Okay, so you guys are just a group. Did you have a group name before Milli Vanilli?
No, it was just Robin Fab.
Robin Fab,
Yeah.
okay. So you guys go and you hook up with Frank Farian? Is that how you pronounce it?
That's right, Frank Farian.
Frank Farian. So what's interesting about Frank Farian is that he was an established producer already.
Yes, big
right?
time. Boney
Big
M.
time. Boney M.
Enormous.
Right. Now, Boney M actually has a very interesting story in the way that it connects with you guys.
Exactly.
Now, Frank Farian, who is a white German producer,
exactly,
goes and
picks.
Well, he does a song himself with his own vocals.
Yeah.
But instead of putting himself as the singer, he goes and finds 4 Caribbean people, right?
That's right.
And has them essentially lip syncing.
Well, just one of them.
One of them?
Just one of them, Bobby Farrell. The rest were female vocals.
Okay.
So he went in the studio, did his thing. I don't know exactly what happened with Boney M, but the male vocals were done by Frank.
So you have the producer, a white singer doing the vocals that a black lead singer is now lip syncing.
That's right.
And Boney M ended up getting huge.
Listen, man, they sold over 120 million records.
120
I believe that
million.
they're one of the few with diamonds.
Diamond, yeah.
One of the few.
And their big song was? They had a few
My
big
Baker, there's so many, man. But My Baker was, for me, growing up in Paris, that was one of the biggest ones. Actually, Lady Gaga took that sequence and put it in her song.
Oh, so that's actually a Boney M kind of sample in a way.
It is.
Okay. So Frank has had experience already before he meets Milli Vanilli to take someone else's vocals and have a front man for those vocals. And he's had tremendous success with that.
Tremendous. And which allowed him to have 4 studios, SSL, Neve, with a whole rack.
Right, and these are $1 million mixing boards you're talking about.
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
And that was back in the days.
Back in the days.
So when you got into his studio, there was like, gold records. He worked with Toto. He worked with Terrence and D'Arby. Actually, Stevie Wonder recorded I Just Called to Say I Love You. I Just Called to Say I Love You in that studio. A lot of people throughout Europe, his compound was very famous for the quality sound that he would produce out of there. So a lot of people went through there.
Okay. So he meets you guys.
Yeah.
And how does the relationship initially start to form between you and Frank?
Well, the relationship with Frank started like as, he was the father figure. He was the man. He has the recording studios, the gold records on the wall. So we get in there, we think like, yo, everything's on the up and up. He ain't gonna do nothing. So when it was time to like sign a contract, yo, it's a sign, a little bit of money, okay, cool.
How much money was it?
Man, it was 1,500 Deutschmark at the time.
Which is,
peanuts, like nothing.
A few $100s.
Like $1,000 or something.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
But for us, at that point, we ain't got nothing. So, you You just put your name down here. There was no attorney, no management.
Right.
We're just like, where do we sign? You know?
But did you guys have any music at this point, or?
No, we did some things, but it was
some demo type stuff.
Yeah, some demo type stuff.
Okay.
You know?
So he meets you guys, and does he see the vision right away, or does it take a little while for it to form?
No, he did. The thing is, we walked into a trap, not knowing it was a trap.
Okay.
That dude was only looking for one thing, only. Can they perform, and what do they look like? That's all they wanted from us, because obviously they had material already recorded. Because what happened was, what I found out, because I worked with one of the original vocalists, we performed in Germany with John Davis, and he told me that the way it started on his end was like Frank called him, because he would work with Frank constantly, all the time. And he called him and he thought it was just another one of those projects where he would sing on. So dude recorded, and then after that he would come back and would say, yo man, I know that voice, I know who's singing the other vocals. He's like, no, you don't. And it was kind of like secretive type stuff.
Yeah, people started to notice something isn't quite matching up here.
Living Color.
Right? In Living Color?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens there?
Living Color did a sketch on Milli Vanilli. I think you can find that on YouTube. It's pretty crazy too. We were in London and at a hotel, and we were like partying. We were like a bunch of people in the hotel, like, lavish lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Table is full of food, everybody's just loving it, champagne, alcohol, well, you name it. And we're clicking channel, and then I'm clicking channel, I'm like, yo, that looks like Rob and I. Like, it looks like a spoof. I'm like, but he ain't looking good to me. So I'm like, yo, shut up. We need to hear this. And we look at this, and we're like, whoa, I ain't liking that. We cut the last part of the sketch, and we were like, So suddenly, it was kind of like, yo, man, people are like they're getting close.
Okay. So, in Living Color does a sketch basically making fun of your accents.
That's right. And then Arsenio got on it too, got hip to that. And he would go after us, because what happened was the original singers went on the show. I don't know if it was in Geraldo or whatever. Like, there was an interview that was given, and it was Charles Shaw. Because the one thing people don't know is that Girl You Know It's True, the rapper on Girl You Know It's True was not the same rapper as the other song. Frank kicked the dude after the first single.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Because he was talking about...
No, there was some problems between them. But what happened was he started opening his mouth, and then the other people that were involved in the project started to like get on the bandwagon. So rumors are coming.
Yeah, rumors are coming.
They're creeping.
And then there's a show that happens, and the CD starts to skip.
Well, let me hold you there.
No, that happened afterwards?
That was, we did a special with VH1 Behind the Music.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that they put, it was a nice edit. It's great for TV. But that day really happened, but it didn't change our lives, because that was at the beginning of our career in America on the MTV tour with Julie Brown. So what happened
Downtown
was...
Julie Brown.
Downtown Julie Brown, sexy downtown Julie Brown. And what happened was the computer skipped, and then it was not my part, so I was chilled. It was like, oh, yeah, it's Rob, So he was pissed. So we went backstage, and they were trying to fix the problem. 2 minutes, because we were known for the skipping. Back then they used to do the repeat and all that. So we went back out there and did the thing, and it was no big deal.
No big deal at all. Okay.
That's not what started it all. But
Right.
for TV
It was those skits.
It was nice.
Okay. But it was those skits and people talking and everything else like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But you guys are still plowing along and still
Still
doing
working.
your thing.
You rule my world, you gotta understand. I'm a love girl. I'm a love girl. I'm just a love girl. And this is true. Girl, you know it's 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 girl.
Milli Vanilli then went on to be a laughing stock and poster child for lip-syncing fraud in the music industry. However, as stated in the interview, this was not an isolated situation in the music industry. On the contrary, it was very common. Or should we say, is very common.
two weren't the only ones in the middle of a lip-syncing scandal in the early 90s. So were CNC Music Factory. The group exploded onto the worldwide music scene with their very first song. Little did fans know, however, the woman they were seeing on their TV screens in the music video, mouthing the words, wasn't actually the one belting out the catchy hook. American musical group CNC Music Factory was formed in 1989 by Johnson City, Tennessee-born David Cole and Brooklyn, New York native Robert Clavelis. They became friends in the late 80s when they both performed at Better Days, a historic dance club in Manhattan, with Robert as the resident DJ and David as the resident keyboardist. In 1987, they formed a short-lived house music group called Two Puerto Ricans, a Black Man, and a Dominican. The group also included fellow producers David Morales and Chep Nunez. They released a few songs, including the minor UK hit Do It Properly, before disbanding. Robert and David then continued to record music together under the name the 28th Street Crew, which previously used the alias the Done Properly Posse. In 1989, the duo released an album titled I Need a Rhythm, and its title track and lead single became a top 5 hit on the dance chart. Continuing on with the pattern of creating a new name to go with every iteration of their group, Robert and David, along with rapper Freedom Williams, formed The Crew in 1990. Robert and David met the Brooklyn-born, Queens-raised Freedom at New York's Quad Recording Studios, where he was working as a janitor while attending school. They released a single called Get Dumb, Free Your Body. The song featured an unauthorized sample of musician and producer Boyd Jarvis's 1983 song, The Music Got Me. Boyd filed a lawsuit against David and Robert, as well as the record company, and the court ruled in his favor. This wouldn't be the last time that Robert and David would get accused of stealing, not giving credit where credit was due, and ending up in court because of it. While creating their own music, Robert and David also produced for many other artists, including the Covergirls, Lisa and Cult Jam, and Mariah Carey. They even created their own girl group called Seduction. The group didn't last very long, but they did manage to land on the Hot 100 with a handful of tracks off their debut album, including their number 2 hit, Two to Make It Right, and their very first chart entry, You're My One and Only, True Love. An interesting fact about the latter track was that the members of Seduction are only heard on the backup vocals. The lead vocal was sung by disco veteran Martha Wash. The same Martha Wash that was previously one half of the duo 2 Tons of Fun, who served as disco R&B singer Sylvester's official backup singers, as well as the Weather Girls, most known for their number 1 dance hit, It's Raining Men. David had already known Martha for a while, since they worked together during her time in the Weather Girls, so he asked her to sing on a demo for the Seduction song as well as others. Remember that little tidbit for later. He, however, chose to also leave her vocals on the final version, and in the liner notes, she was only credited as a backup vocalist. That didn't fly with Martha, and she sued. Crazy enough, Martha would also soon play a very similar role in the stories of CNC Music Factory, as well as Italian house music group Black Box. But we'll save the latter for another video. Later that same year, Robert and David once again decided to form a new group. This time, they chose to incorporate their surnames and settled on calling themselves CNC Music Factory, and signed a multi-album deal with Columbia. The whole idea for the group was that Robert and David would be the only consistent members, and that they'd work with different vocalists. In December, CNC Music Factory released their debut album, Gonna Make You Sweat. Their debut single of the same name, released the month before, became an international hit and peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song also featured a rap by Freedom, former member of their previous group, The Crew, as well as an unknown artist who would make herself known through the courts. CNC Music Factory would be hit with a lawsuit by Martha Wash. That's right, those uncredited vocals on the chorus belong to her. Even though it may not appear to some, Martha insists that she wasn't the lawsuit-happy type. In fact, after discovering that the group was using Liberian singer Zelma Davis in the music video, she attempted to negotiate with Robert and David for sleeve credits and royalties. They weren't having it, so Martha did what she had to do, and in December 1991, filed a lawsuit in the Los Angeles Superior Court against the duo, charging the producers and their record company, Sony Music Entertainment, with fraud, deceptive packaging, and commercial appropriation.
That's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. I want a place to stay. Yeah, you put on one tonight, make my day. I want a place to stay. Yeah, you put on one.
They don't see you and they don't hear your voice. They get confused. En tu boca. Don't say anything. Habla naturalmente.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who the flies brother of them all?
You know, I'm self-employed. Ever since I became self-employed, I can honestly say my boss is a no-good Jew bastard.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, are you gonna go out?
Eventually, Neil's here.
Oh, okay. So that means get off the phone?
Yeah, it means fuck you.
Okay, I love you.
Okay.
What really happened on that Thursday here at Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death?
The fuck is that? Shit! I'm dying in this fucking country-ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. The fuck? I can't see pollen. Let's get the fuck out of this country, motherfucker. I can't even see.
I don't understand. Maybe it's an inside joke. We had like 200 people say, ask him about his real voice. I'm like, what does that mean? Is that an inside joke?
Nah, it's real.
What, they think your voice isn't real?
I really talk.
What the fuck? Fuck out of here. That's not how you really talk.
That is my real voice.
I just talk like this when I'm trying to like make music and make content and shit.
But I really talk like this in real life.
Yo, the fuck out of here.
You can ask anybody. That's how I really talk.
You talk
like my family, like when I'm around my family and shit. I do that, but then you got to make a character. So
And Michael Jackson and 3 Brazilian public officials, because there was some concern. You notice that video that he did? Ever seen it in Brazil with the drummers?
They don't care about us.
Yeah, they don't care about us. And so this long, interminable meeting is going on, and Spike is talking to these people, and the producer friend is talking to them and everything, and Michael just quietly sitting there taking notes. So finally, after a couple of hours, almost, the Brazilian officials leave, Spike leaves, and Michael just sitting there with my friend. He said, at a certain point, Michael looked up and said, damn, I thought those motherfuckers weren't gonna never leave. Now, and he says, hold up, and he says this not in, damn, I don't think these motherfuckers will never leave. He says it like a black man would say, damn, I thought the motherfuckers were gonna never leave. And then he got up and walked out. And my friend was saying, he was sitting there like, so this is what I'm talking about, the shape-shifting thing. That voice, read Lisa Presley, his wife, on Michael Jackson. She says time and time again, that voice was a construction. It was a strategy. It was a mask. So, I mean, I just tell that story because I think it's a really deep story. And then my friend just said, he said the thing that blew his mind was not only how deep Michael Jackson's voice.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Last month, I've gone from where is he to here he is again. But I must confess, it feels good to be thought of as a person, not as a personality. Because I don't read all the things written about me. I wasn't aware that the world thought I was so weird and bizarre. But when you grow up, as I did, in front of 100 million people, since the age of 5, you're automatically different. The last few weeks, I have been cleansing myself, and it's been a rebirth for myself. It's like a cleansing spirit. I love you too. My childhood was completely taken away from me.
Somebody from the Marine Corps band said that it was her decision right before she went on. She decided to play the pre-recorded track.
Hoorah! But come on, could this really have been staged? She even took the earpiece out, for God's sake!
That was for drama. I'm so, upset.
Of course you are! Hold on! We interrupt this Beyonce bombshell for a Beyonce bombshell!
Yo-Yo Ma fake celloed last time.
Really? Would you have cared if we said a Yo-Yo Ma bombshell?
He did not.
1,000%.
So that was all phony?
Not all of it. Kelly Clarkson really sang, James Taylor really sang, and we think Obama's speech was real. But as for Beyonce, she played you like Yo-Yo Ma pretends to play a cello.
I can't believe it.
Believe it, pal. It's not like we told you that the Whitney Houston anthem was fake, too.
The Whitney Houston one, the famous one, that was lip sync too.
We're done.
All the singers. She sings into a mic, but mainly they play something pre-recorded. So it's like 10% her voice, her live voice, 90% her pre-recorded voice. But apparently, somebody grabbed a hold of what she was actually singing into the mic. So Howard Stern somehow got this. Maybe he says it's all over the internet, but we got it through his show, Fair is Fair. And we want to play you how it, what they played on the air on Howard Stern. And, and you get to judge for yourself, is Beyonce, in fact, a total and utter fraud and a disastrous singer? So let's listen in, and then we'll judge. That'll be fun.
Feed.
Oh.
It's always off key.
So they got the mic on and they don't know.
It's pretty funny.
Even just for a day, I'd roll out of bed in the morning and throw on what I wanted and go.
Ouch.
Drink there with the guy and chase after the road. Where did this happen?
Today's show. The board feed.
Kicking with who I wanted, and I never get confronted for it.
I guess they sing the track.
They stick up for me. If I
Oi.
Oh, come on.
I swear.
Wow. How it feels to love a girl. I swear I'd be a better man. I listen to her.
That's good.
Man.
All right, that's enough.
No, keep going.
If I were a boy, I would turn off my phone.
Sorry. All right, so there you go. That's.
Make my wish come true for Christmas. Make my wish come true. I'm just gonna keep on waiting. You. I hear those bells ringing. Won't you please bring my baby to me? So make my wish come true. You. Yeah. Merry Christmas! I'm getting a new coat.
We didn't have a check for this song, so we'll just say it went to #1, and that's what it is. Okay.
Feels like a
We're missing some of this vocal, but it is what it is.
But I like the way.
I'm gonna say let the audience sing, okay? We didn't have a sound check, but it's New Year's, baby. That's okay, you guys. the lift. I told you. Just play me because you know how to do it. And I want a holiday too. Can I not have one? I'm trying to be a good sport here. You just don't get any better.
Oh, baby, by the way, tell me no, I won't. Wish to have a fancy car, wish to have $1 million bucks. Let's go. Well, I wish I know being in love. So feel me, pretty baby. I make one wish and I wish it all on you. Oh, making love to the break of dawn, me and you to the baby's born. It's the best day ever, only be a year ago.
Hey, y'all think it's so crazy.
He's not. If we tried that, we could. Somewhere to climb. It's warm long as you were. Hey, yo,
I don't waste dream. No. Whoa, I'm sorry everybody, that hurt me too. That sounded so fucking crazy.
Jennifer Lopez is a singer, dancer, and actress who rose to fame after her first leading role in the 1997 Selena biopic, where she lip-synced all of Selena's vocals. Jennifer received a Golden Globe nomination and became the first Latin actress to earn over $1 million for a film. Her musical career also began to take off as she released her debut Latin pop album On the 6th in June of 1999. The album, fueled by the success of her hit single If You Had My Love, went platinum within 2 weeks. Jennifer's success comes from Selena's death and ripping off other artists. But did you know that Jennifer Lopez was secretly pulling a Milli Vanilli? Over the course of Jennifer's career, she has stolen the vocals of other artists and passed them off as if they were her own. Here's some of the songs stolen by J-Lo. After reaching superstardom from starring in the Selena biopic, J-Lo made her musical debut with the song If You Had My Love from her debut album On the 6th. The song was instantly a hit, going #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and the album was heavily produced by her then boyfriend Puff Daddy. If you had my love and I gave you all my trust, would you comfort me? That song was written by Rodney Jerkins, aka Dark Child, who's known for writing a lot of the top hits in the late 90s and early 2000s. But get this, Rodney had already written an almost identical song for Shantae Moore called If I Gave Love. If I gave you love, then where would that leave me? If I gave my trust, would you use it? Diddy heard Rodney's song for Shantae and asked him to rewrite something similar for Jennifer. Jenny's song also features vocals from an unknown singer. You had my love and I gave you all my trust, would you comfort me? Technically, Diddy stole the song for J-Lo, but look, just stick around for the rest of the video and I'll tell you more. Her second single, Waiting for Tonight, was a cover of a dance pop group named Third Party. I have spent all of my life. The song was presented to Jennifer, but she hated the song, saying that she never wanted to hear the song again. She eventually recorded her own version of the song and kept the backing vocals from the group's version. It's not out of the ordinary for artists to cover songs or use backup singers, but Jennifer started taking ghost singing too far. The third single, Feelin' So Good, featuring Nas and Big Pun, features chorus vocals from an unknown singer. As the 2000s approached, Jennifer started becoming more of a sex symbol and became the it Latina girl on the scene, and she released her second album titled J-Lo. The second single, Play, was co-written by a young Christina Milian at the time, and Jennifer would keep her demo vocals on the final version. Ja Rule and Ashanti were frequent collaborators in the early 2000s, but after J-Lo's album sales started declining, Tommy Mottola went to Murder Inc. to redefine her sound to make it more urban. That's when Irv Gotti started using Jennifer for collaborations with Ja. The Murder Inc. remix for I'm Real was written by Ashanti, and her vocals from the reference track were also used in the song.
Yeah, yeah. I don't understand. My love. I'm real. Way you.
I wrote a song for her, and I also referenced I'm Real for her, and they left my background vocals on the record.
And people, they say, you know, are you the ghost voice for, have you heard that?
Yes, I heard that. But, I mean, I referenced the record for her, which is, you know, done a lot in the music industry, and they left my background vocals on there, so.
Probably somewhere with someone I don't. Wrong places, you too. You too.
Come on.
I don't like the way you went and told me, oh well.
No one's mentioning this?
I have this suspicion you're not being yourself.
That's Drake's voice, but it's Nick Jonas, which makes me believe Nick Jonas is the one that's actually singing.
I don't suppose you have a moment to spare me.
This is Drake's voice. How do you guys not hear that?
Oh, you pulling shit together, I can tell, baby. Is you single or what? I need a girl from the country. I need a girl from Kentucky. I need a shawty from Houston. I need a girl who gon' love me. I need a girl who gon' trust me. Someone to fuck. Someone to make me feel loved. Nigga, bad. I am home with my words. Watch a nigga backtrack. If I die, oh no, I'm a motherfucking legend. It's too late for my city. I don't know this nigga rapping on. When I pull up on a nigga, tell that nigga baby, I'm too good with these words. Watch a nigga backtrack. If I die, all I know is all money, new women, gotta keep it coming. The girl of your dreams to me is probably not a tenor. I've been counting it up so many times I couldn't count it. Sauce dripping like water. Yeah. Alright. Always new women, gotta keep it coming. The girl of your dreams to me is probably not a challenge. I've been counting it out so many times I couldn't count it. Yeah, I know. Oh. Okay, 10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands, fuck it, man. I'm trying to run through the budget. Nigga sleep. I ain't tripping, I'ma let him sleep. When I get it, nigga, recipe. I can tell you how it happened. I can tell you about the fake house, nights, I'm Calabasas. I can tell you not a rapper. 10 bands, 50 bands, 100 bands, fuck it, man. Let's just not even discuss it, man. OMG. Nigga sleep. I ain't tripping, I'ma let him sleep. I can tell you how it happened. I can tell you about the safe house, nights, out of Calabasas. I can tell you not a rapper.
Me like a flathead. Just know I ain't gon' play by my respect. From the fucking zoo, finna pull up with your boo. What he do? They say they broke cool. Money, head, clothes and bags. Heard we got some hits. Nigga, bring them whips out. I love them fucking fast cars.
When they treat you like the strongest, it make you the weak. The one that always gon' come. He got 99 problems and the biggest one is me. He got all of these little bitches and the biggest one is me. Fuck
my hoe, fuck that bitch. I don't give a fuck about none of this shit. Leave me alone, don't take my phone. It is what it is, I'm on what you on.
Fuck my nigga, he ain't shit. Boy ain't good for number dick. Slide you like
your nips, pussy boy, with that bitch.
Nicki Minaj, she's not the one singing. It's actually the voice of Jay-Z. If you grab a Nicki Minaj song and pitch it down, I've got an example.
It
You can
sounds like
actually
Jay-Z.
hear Jay-Z.
He real, he might got a deal. He bottles and he got the right kind of bill. He cold, he dope, he might sell coke. He always in the air, but he never fly couch. Yes, I did. Somebody please tell him who the F I is.
Oh,
Nicki Minaj.
I know, right? It's a little eye-opener.
What's interesting is Nas had his voice pitched up to rap as female alter ego, Scarlett, on his 2004 album Street's Disciple. Scarlett sounds strikingly similar to female rapper Lil' Kim, even quoting the Notorious B.I.G. on the verse as Kim has been known to do.
To platinum from silver, came back, bitches calling me the blacklist teller. Imagine that, rob me, my nigga would kill you. They knew the rules, all the planes I flew, niggas I ran through.
I got some shit right now. When you hear it, you're not even gonna know it's me. You're gonna be like, damn. If I didn't put my name on it, I even thought about I thought about doing this. Now I'm not even gonna tell y'all because I still might do it. I'm thinking about doing some shit where I'm gonna disguise myself, pitch my voice up a little bit, and rap completely different, and pretend like I'm somebody else, and see what kind of success I can have, and pretend like I'm in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? Do the makeup and shit, the whole get up and pretend to be someone else. And then when I have success doing that, then take off the guy to say, look at y'all the fuckers. It really was me the whole time.
Unmasked and scare the shit out
Show
of
y'all
people.
motherfuckers that everything that you think you believe is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So, and I still might do that. And when I do it, I can tell you I'm gonna do it, but you still, if I do it, you'll never ever know it's me because I already did it. I experimented with it a little bit and nobody knew it. It's a record out. I ain't gonna tell you what the record is, but it's a record out right now. That's me. People think it's somebody else. Whole different name, whole different look. People think it's somebody else, but it's really me.
Today we're here to find out whether AI voice is truly at the level where it can start to fool people. So before we even get any further here, we're using altered software. Right now, they have packaged it with, I think, like 24 voices. 24 voice actors, which they've hired to give them a 2 to 3 hour voice data set. So today we're working with a library of pre-trained voices made from hired voice actors.
So they have a really good cast of voice actors here with a bunch of different dialects and accents. So I have a great idea. So sit down and buckle up.
We're going to take our voices and transform them into famous characters, and we'll pretend to give everybody cameos from their favorite celebrities and iconic movie stars.
It's kind of Morgan Freeman-y. Kinda.
This is one of the biggest moments in recent wrestling history. It's the main event of WWE's Monday Night Raw, and John Cena is facing off against R-Truth in a much-anticipated match. Cena's about to finish things off when another wrestler, CM Punk, rushes in and interferes, costing him the victory. Last-minute reversals like these are par for the course in pro wrestling, but the reason fans haven't forgotten this moment is what comes next. Punk takes the mic, sits down on the entrance ramp, and proceeds to deliver a monologue about all his grievances with pro wrestling.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
And he doesn't just stop at his scripted feud with Cena. He goes after Hulk Hogan and The Rock.
The fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania next year and I'm not makes me sick.
He calls out the fans.
You're the ones that buy those programs that my face isn't on the cover of.
And finally, he goes after CEO Vince McMahon.
Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon, all right? Can we do this whole bully camp?
Or at least he tries, before his mic gets cut off and the screen goes dark. Okay, so why am I showing you all this? I want to try to persuade you that beneath all the silliness and spectacle, there's actually something really interesting going on here. And it comes down to a word.
Kayfabe? Kayfabe, the system of stratified lies that professional wrestling is undergirded by.
That's Eric Weinstein. He's a mathematician, an economist, a podcaster, and an all-around polymath. Back in 2011, he was asked to write an essay on the most important scientific concept for everyday people to understand, and he chose kayfabe.
I wrote this essay anticipating that professional wrestling was going to turn out to be incredibly important. And in fact, I thought it was going to determine the presidency.
Weinstein argued that the altered reality of kayfabe helped explain why some of our most trusted institutions were falling apart. And that was in 2011, before, well... In this series, I want to try to explain how we got here, and what wrestling has to teach us about it. It's a story about economic growth and stagnation, about violence and entertainment, and about how the United States became a nation addicted to fantasy. This is how politics became pro wrestling.
You suggest professional wrestling is fake?
I'm suggesting politics is fake. Politics today is pro wrestling.
So let's go back to the match, because to understand how politics became pro wrestling, you have to understand how pro wrestling became pro wrestling. Like all such contests today, this is what's known as a work. The fight is scripted. That includes everything from the strenuous choreography to Punk's last-minute interference, despite the surprise on John Cena's face. But pro wrestling wasn't always fake. It evolved out of a sport called catch wrestling, or catch as catch can, which rose to prominence at the turn of the 20th century. Before that point, a variety of wrestling styles were practiced in local matches across the country. The ascendance of catch helped create a unified brand for the sport, and with it, a new business model. Promoters and competitors began touring the country in an attempt to make wrestling a mass audience attraction. But they had a problem. Traditional catch matches only ended in pins or submissions, which meant they could last for hours without much excitement. They were also incredibly dangerous. A star wrestler in the prime of his career could be suddenly incapacitated, or worse. This combination of general monotony and occasional extreme danger is at the heart of why kayfabe was born. Remember this, because we'll come back to it. To turn wrestling into a more dependable product, a new generation of promoters began making changes to the sport. They started gradually with things like softer mats and time limits, but eventually moved to full-on worked matches. They established closed leagues, or promotions, to protect wrestlers from honest competition. Influenced by the shady practices of carnivals, they began thinking of spectators as marks for the taking. That's where the term kayfabe comes from.
Kayfabe is carnival speak for the word fake.
It's a kind of code word, representing an agreement by everyone inside a promotion to maintain the deception of everyone outside. Breaking kayfabe, either by admitting the fakery or engaging in real competition, became known as shooting, another carnival term. That's what Punk was doing when he grabbed the mic. Shooting. Or was it? This is where things get strange.
Do you know what a worked shoot is?
Yes.
Okay, what's a worked shoot?
As you've probably guessed by now, Punk's shoot is scripted. It's a worked shoot. But it's not exactly fake either. Many of his grievances are true. To this day, wrestling fans talk about how accurate the monologue was. In fact, it isn't totally clear what's not true here, and that's what separates kayfabe from mere fiction.
It has to do with the layering of nonsense and reality. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that you have something which is ostensibly fake, then you have a breaking of kayfabe ostensibly, which is the shoot on top of the expected work. But a worked shoot is tertiary in that the shoot is in itself fake. Right. And so a worked shoot is a tertiary deception.
It's a fake fight that appears real.
It's a fake, real fight that appears to break out of a fake thing that is pretending to, maybe it's quaternary.
If all of this is getting hard to keep track of, that's sort of the point. At the beginning, kayfabe was about deceiving the audience, but over the years, it's evolved into something much more complex. By layering fiction upon fiction, kayfabe blurs the distinction between the two, not just for the audience, but for the performers.
You start doping reality with fakeness, and the brain can't go much beyond 4 levels of lies.
Here's an example. By all accounts, Vince McMahon plans to hand over control of the WWE to his daughter, Stephanie, and son-in-law, Paul Levesque, the wrestler Triple H. It's one of the things Punk complains about.
It's gonna get taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law.
McMahon's marriage to Levesque is legit, but their romance began as a storyline. In fact, it isn't until their fictional marriage had ended in acrimonious divorce that their real relationship got underway. That real relationship then got woven back into the storyline, as we see in Punk's monologue. The wrestling world is full of this. Off-screen romances turned into on-screen plots, fictional rivalries turned into real-world feuds. This constant blending helps create the unique psychology of kayfabe, in which, as one scholar puts it, the audience believes and disbelieves what it sees at the same time. As we struggle to tease reality apart from fantasy, the emotional reality of the spectacle begins to take hold. Eventually, it's no longer clear
I'd seen these other candidacies in other countries in which people seem not to be able to distinguish an actor from the character that they played, you know, and whatnot. And so I believed that the
a pro wrestling president. And with good reason. He's literally in the WWE Hall of Fame. Later in the series, we'll talk more about how pro wrestling tactics were instrumental to Trump's rise. But the question we'll come to next is how our political system got to the point where Trump was the man for the moment. He didn't just show up and make politics kayfabe any more than Hulk Hogan could show up in tights at a UFC fight. Just as with wrestling, politics didn't start here. It got here gradually. And it turns out that how this became this explains a lot about how this became this. There's a more general process here by which institutions transition from failed reality to successful fakery. Weinstein calls this process Kayfabrication.
So what I call Kayfabrication is the transition of something that usually has twin attributes, is very dangerous and very boring. And like war is like this. Mostly war is extremely boring and then, you know, obviously can be quite deadly. So in order to routinize these things, we create kayfabe.
Remember how I said that kayfabe was born out of general monotony and extreme danger? Well, after World War II, this is what happened to American politics. With the arrival of the atomic bomb, the world simultaneously became a much safer and a much more dangerous place. The great powers couldn't afford to risk all-out war ever again, so they established a new international order, along with things like the United Nations, to contain the possibility of conflict.
If we do not want to die together in war, we must learn to live together in peace.
On the home front, Americans settled into a newly stable and prosperous existence. An expanding middle class migrated to suburbs and into the fantasy worlds of advertising and television. Even amid the turmoil of the 1960s, broadcast news helped create a shared reality. Incomplete, perhaps, but unifying.
That's the way it is. Wednesday, July 31st, 1968.
And for a brief golden period, the fantasy held true. Fueled by innovations in science and technology, the economy kept growing, and progress seemed inevitable. But then something surprising happened. The growth stopped, and suddenly reality could no longer deliver the entertainment we'd become accustomed to. By this point, the entire economy and the institutions that support it were built on an expectation of growth that wasn't materializing. So we did the next best thing. We started to fake it.
So the other thing we want to talk about, of course, is that you and I have been trying to make the case, I think, I have anyway, that liberals need to stand up for liberal principles.
Yeah, well, liberals have really failed on the topic of theocracy. They'll criticize white theocracy, they'll criticize Christians, but when you want to talk about the treatment of women and homosexuals and free thinkers and public intellectuals in the Muslim world, I would argue that liberals have failed us.
Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
Remember this? If you're like me, it probably lingers in your mind as one of the clearest examples of a pattern that's become all too common since. Someone attempts to carefully explain a heterodox opinion on a controversial topic, in this case the unique dangers of fundamentalist Islam, and what they get back is, well...
It's gross, it's racist. It's not, it's like saying, so not your shifty Jew.
What's less commonly understood is how this pattern fits into the larger story we've been telling, about how, and now I finally get to use all the acronyms at once, the disc protects the jinn from things that threaten the egos. Let's take a look at Weinstein's model for how this works.
I introduced this thing called the 4-quadrant model.
Imagine that the x-axis represents opposition or support for a position favored within the jinn. For example, the claim that there's no special link between jihadist violence and the doctrines of Islam. Though not always explicit, these views shape the boundaries of the discourse and serve as tripwires for those who transgress them.
What is your answer? No, just condemn Islam?
The solution, no.
Suppose that the y-axis represents moral virtue and moral vice, either benign motives or nefarious ones. These two axes create 4 quadrants, 4 ideal types that show up in these kinds of altercations. Let's walk through them in detail. In the first quadrant are what Weinstein calls the dupes, or ivy-covered dupes. These are generally cultural elites, often well-educated at top schools, who support the position based on its idealistic moral justification. They're the foot soldiers, the ones who model and enforce the boundaries of right opinion.
Hold on, are you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam?
These are people who think that they are the elite, but they're not really in control, and they don't realize that they are in fact being propagandized. And it's very difficult to work with this because they're convinced that they're the ones in the know.
That's just a fact.
Like blasphemy.
It's not a fact. It's an ugly thing.
Apostasy.
The second quadrant is comprised of contrarians and independent thinkers, often coming from outside the institutional mainstream. These are people who oppose the Jinn's position, but not for the morally suspect reasons that the dupes allege.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people, and that's a problem.
But in trying to reason through issues from first principles, they eventually run afoul of the Jinn's sacred cows and say something adjacent to something dangerous.
But Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have.
That brings us to the third quadrant, where the smoke of dangerous-sounding ideas genuinely signals the fire of nefarious motives. These are the troglodytes, the actual bigots and racists that the dupes are always in search of. The steady supply of such people is what gives the moralizing narrative of the Jinn its force. But the crucial thing to understand is that within the gated institutional narrative, and consequently for the dupes whose worldview it shapes, only these two quadrants exist. Smoke always means fire. That's why whenever they encounter someone thinking off script from up here, they frantically accuse them of a position from down here.
You don't understand my argument.
Your argument is like, black people, they show each other.
That is not my argument.
Another especially clear example of this was when Jordan Peterson spoke to Kathy Newman a few years later.
Right, so you're saying you've done your research and women are unhappy dominating men.
I didn't say they were unhappy dominating men. I said it was a bad long-term solution.
You're saying that women aren't intelligent enough to run these top companies?
No, I didn't say that at all.
Well, you were saying that intelligent and conscientious
traits.
by implication are not female traits.
No,
I mean, that's very dangerous
I'm
territory.
not saying that at all.
The question is how these caricaturish positions ever became so dominant in the first place, and why it's so important to paint those who challenge them as beyond the pale. And that brings me to the fourth quadrant, what Weinstein calls the rent-seeking elite.
Rent-seeking is the ultimate insult from an economist. It says that you're trying to profit without really producing anything.
These are people who support the Jinn's position because it protects their economic interests. But because those interests often involve something nefarious, they have to be sold with idealistic cover stories that are beyond reproach. As we've been discussing throughout the series, over the past 50 years, an increasing share of economic activity has been devoted to rent-seeking and gimmicks. That is, plans for growth that depend on transferring wealth from fellow citizens or from the future. At the same time, the absence of underlying scientific and technological progress has made these plans more and more desperate and tenuous. The increasing absurdity of the Jinn's positions reflects the increasing fragility and corruption of the system. It's not an accident that the view that Islam has nothing to do with terror took hold in a nation dependent on Saudi oil. Nor is it an accident that untenable views about male-female sameness grew up as wage stagnation made it impossible to support a family on a single income. Wherever such ridiculous ideas hold sway, someone's ego is being protected. To take just one more example, consider the topic of immigration. Here, the position of the dupes is that immigration is a universal good, whether or not they'd explicitly endorse open borders. In the second quadrant, you might find someone like Weinstein or the economist George Borjas, both of whom argue that immigration is often used to redistribute wealth.
Immigration basically hurts people who compete with immigrants, and people who use immigrants, whether they be employers or consumers or upper middle class Californians who have a gardener and a maid and so on, those are the people who gain from immigration. So it's really redistribution of wealth at heart.
But within the Jinn, the only reason to be opposed to immigration is xenophobia, or one or another species of bigotry.
You can't have that conversation about the misuse of immigration as a tool of transfer, because our media will instantly set upon you and say, well, the only reason you're talking about restricting immigration is your hatred of foreigners and you can't disguise it from me.
So you cannot be a xenophilic restrictionist. So
right.
that cannot exist. By definition, it cannot exist.
Right.
Of course, ensuring that all criticism of immigration be viewed as xenophobia serves the interests of those who want to import cheap labor at the expense of native workers. These are the rent seekers. But the especially pernicious thing about this narrative is that it pushes people without expertise into the troglodyte quadrant. Someone who knows the story he's being told about immigration is a lie might come to hate immigrants themselves, for lack of a clearer picture of who to blame. All the better for the rent seekers, who can continue to affirm that only troglodytes would oppose them. In 2012, fully 43.4% of Americans wanted to decrease immigration, while only 14.3% wanted it to increase. This at a time when neither the political establishment nor the mainstream media were hosting substantive critiques of immigration. But if careful critiques couldn't break through the narrative, a wrecking ball eventually would.
We're going to build the wall, okay? Believe me. We're going to build the wall.